Wow, what a Wednesday night. This is impromptu. This is off the cuff. This is last minute in a way. I hear a fan again, though.
Well,
Did you have to?
I couldn't do it, so I stuck it outside to blow inside the trailer. It was like all of a sudden the water works.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, you got to stop doing your show inside an oil drum because those things can heat up pretty well. And oh boy, here we go.
Well, there goes the fan. It just fell.
Get yourself a little personal fan. Like I've got one over here. It's I don't know. It's probably a foot square. And I can set that here, and I run that, and you don't hear that at all. So,
well, the problem I have is that I since this is so impromptu, I didn't cool the trailer down.
Oh yeah,
because I do it. I do it from the trailer because I'm really loud and everybody can hear me in the house, so they get bitchy, and then they turn their TVs up, and then JV would be bitching about TVs in the background.
Oh, don't bring me into your drama. Don't bring me into your little drama situation.
Oh, I just know what would happen, and. So I didn't have time to cool the trailer down. So it's a sweat box right now, and yeah, it's pretty brutal. But so today, when I was out working, and JV and I are constantly going back and forth with ideas, and I don't see us streaming.
Where don't you see it?
Are we going to everything?
Yeah. Were we not supposed to? Did you have a different plan?
I don't know. This is so winging it. I really didn't have a plan at all, but for some reason in my mind, I was just thinking we were going to Facebook. But okay, that's cool. Anyway, do we want to talk about the caller thing first before we tell them what we did? Or we should probably, people are tuning in now to figure out what's going on. Basically, what JV and I we came up with a fun thing to do. I know I'm all over the place.
You're spinning me. I'm like my head is like woo 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 woo. I feel like Linda Blair in The Exorcist. I have to spin my head so much to keep up with you here.
I just figure we've come in live. People go, oh, they're live. What are they doing? And then if we start rambling about normal, they'll go, oh, it's just normal weird shit. Just fuck it. I'm out. Or whatever. Or I'll watch it later. But basically, so JV and I was driving. I work in L.A. And I was driving by a cemetery. And I was like, oh, that's where Marilyn Monroe's buried. And JV was like, do you have a recorder on you? I'm like, no. He goes, shit, you could have went and done a EVP session. And then we basically just started spitballing this idea. So I came home, and I live in Orange County, and I do have a cemetery that's pretty close. So I went over there, and I did like about a 6-minute, 7-minute EVP session on a tombstone of I don't want to call her famous, but she did some pretty cool shit when she was alive. And basically, I have that recorder right here. Where's it at? Right here. That I put on the tombstone. And I think I texted you a photo of it on the tombstone.
You did text me. Did you not have that photo?
No, I did. I did not.
Okay, well, I'll upload this while you're talking so we can show it. Yeah.
All right. So basically, I did a 7-minute thing, and basically, I came back to the trailer, and we got everything booted up, and I transferred the file over to the desktop and dropped it in vMix. Neither one of us have listened to this at all. And we're just going to review it live with you. So we're gonna play it out. I got my pen, I got my paper for notes, and we're gonna play it, and we're all gonna listen to it. And you guys can put what you guys hear in the comments. All I can see right now is Facebook, but JV has a master board, so he gets to see everything. I don't know how we're gonna do the timing thing, so I don't know how we're gonna do that. So that people know if they hear something, they can write the time down, so we know where to backtrack to.
So the idea here is this is going to be pretty interesting. We have no idea what we're going to catch, if we're going to catch anything. But as Britt articulated, there are a lot of really, really cool resting places in the greater Los Angeles area with a lot of very interesting people buried in those places. And I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody, and certainly that's not our intent. However, it would be kind of interesting if we could do these little mini investigations. And when I say investigations, really, they'll be kind of limited to a quick EVP session, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it happens to be. But either way, maybe we'll catch something. Maybe we'll hear something. It's going to be interesting to experiment with this a little bit. So we're going to be doing this moving forward. And what I'm thinking here, Britt, is because this was so last minute that we didn't have enough time to completely prepare the way we may have otherwise. But what we'll do for the next one is we'll take the audio file and we'll put it in Premiere and we'll add a clock to it so that the time...
we'll have to do something like that.
Yeah, so that the time
But
is
we can't
displayed.
listen to it. because the whole
we don't
thing
have- we
is
don't
for
have to.
all of us
Yeah.
to listen together.
Yeah, we definitely don't have to listen.
And JV doesn't know this. I just thought about this when I was setting this stuff up. I looked over at my Spirit SP11, and I happen to have two. Oh shit! I happen to have two of those recorders. So I think what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to set a recorder up that obviously hears my voice, and then I'm going to do a Spirit box and plug it directly into my second recorder and record that. So we'll be able to do an EVP session review, and then we can do a Spirit box review of the same EVP session and see if we get something that way too. That'd be an interesting experiment to see if one way is better than the other, or at least picks up more activity than the other. That is, if you guys think it's cool. So let us know if you think this is cool and this is something that you want to partake in. And next time we will definitely promotion is not the right word. But definitely let you guys know what we're doing, when we're gonna do it, who we're gonna go, whose cemetery. What am I trying? Not cemetery. Plot. Thank you. I'm talking to myself in my head. Just get used to it.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, too much caffeine. Which plot we're going to? I mean, I literally drove by Marilyn Monroe. And that's what started this whole thing. I can literally drive up to Marilyn Monroe's crypt, her little area, and we can totally do this. So, I mean, JV and I were batting back and forth today. You know, do we let you guys know and have you guys, we're going to go do Marilyn Monroe, or we're going to do Nicole Brown Simpson, who's actually buried a few cities over from me in Orange County, and then you guys could put questions in there that you want me to ask. And then I'll ask them, and then we'll review everything. That night, whenever I do it. And so, I don't know. Just thinking this might be cool. But I was looking at the amount of dead people that are buried in the greater LA area, and the list is in the thousands. Like famous people, all the way back like the Humphrey Bogart, Silent Air, all the way to current stuff. Like the lead singer of Quiet Riot is buried 2 cities over from me.
Come on, feel the noise. Girls, rock your boys. We'll get wild, wild, wild. Right?
Is that one of the songs you sing?
I have sang harmonies to that song before. I have never sang lead on it.
Gotcha.
But it's a fun song to play. I'll tell you that for sure.
All right. It's a fun song.
I am going to have a lot of fun. If we do some of the older Hollywood celebrities and we get a chance to do, I'm going to have a lot of fun seeing what kind of information you've got about those people, because I happen to be an old Hollywood aficionado. So,
oh boy,
when you start talking about Humphrey Bogart or Charlie Chaplin or the Marx Brothers, Groucho Marx, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun to see what kind of information you've got tucked away in your head about them, and if any of it's real. I know, you'll just make it up.
I have no idea.
That's
it's going to be insane.
That's going to be
Which is why I think, the next one I want to do is Marilyn Monroe. Maybe we should start a thread on Marilyn Monroe on the Facebook board, and you guys, even if you listen to us on YouTube, you can go to Facebook and make a post of whatever questions you want us to ask, and then JV and I will go through them and we'll compile them, and if there's several thousand, we're gonna have to narrow it down. But I don't think that's gonna be a problem. But
maybe what we'll do.
How
about we do it this way? We'll create a poll, because we can do polls on Facebook.
True.
And we'll say, okay, here are the 4 people that we have to choose from for this particular week or whatever, and then people can vote on it, and then we can take the top vote getter, and then we can say, okay, this is who we're gonna do. List your questions, and we'll select the questions that make the most sense for how we want to approach it. We'll do the EVP session. We'll bring it back. We will play it live. Like this one tonight, we have not listened to this in advance. We have no idea. Nope. There's going to be a lot of nothing going on, and we can't really talk during it because we need to be listening. So be prepared for that. We might go, a minute and then pause it and then chat a little bit if we don't hear anything, whatever, just so it's not 5 minutes of straight nothing. But either way, we're kind of experimenting with this as we go along. I want to say hi to Pip.
So this might
Pip,
be.
I'm sorry. I just want to say hi to Pip. I want to say hi to Levy J22. That's not the Fuzz Levy. It's a different Levy. Hello, Pip. No, I'm still in upstate New York. Britt is in California. That's why we're talking about California stuff. And who else do I want to say hi to? I want to say hi to Mickey. I want to say hi to Ed. Ed said he finally got the subscription to work on Facebook, so I'm hoping that means that whole problem has been fixed. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Heather. Good to see all you guys. And again, this is an experiment, so we're going to see how it goes and have a little fun with it. But we're going to be listening to this audio file for the first time. How many questions were you able to ask? Is it a dozen? Is it 5? Is it 2?
I don't know. It was probably 10 questions. It's only the total file is 7 minutes long, and I know that I spent like probably the first minute trying to find the grave, and while it was recording because I thought I was at the right one, and then I realized I was not. Mm-hmm. But although I actually did find it pretty quick, I was kind of surprised by it. I thought it was going to be a little harder of a chore, but it actually came in. And actually, if people want to see well, should I get some background on who I
listen.
found?
When you sent me this headstone, I had no idea who this person was, and it wasn't until I looked it up, and then you started to tell me also who it was. I'm like, oh wow, this is. I'm really surprised. I've never heard this name before.
Right. So the person we found is Corrie ten Boom, and this is what she looks like when she's older. But this is what she looked like during World War II. Corrie ten Boom. She's buried like less than a mile from me. She's from the Netherlands. Her sister, and her father. What they're famous for. She wrote a book eventually after World War II. But what her and her family did is when the Nazis invaded, or when Germany invaded and occupied the Netherlands, and the Nazis, they helped smuggle out Jewish people, mentally retarded people, and resistance. They assisted the resistance. But her story is amazing. It's crazy. They saved a lot of lives, and I'm just going off of what Wikipedia has on her, and I don't see why anybody would, falsify her Wikipedia. So I'm assuming this is pretty. Take it for what it's worth. It's Wikipedia. But some of the interesting things that caught my attention is, number one, her whole family did it, and they smuggled a lot of people. But one of their neighbors turned them in. They happened to have 6 or 7 people hiding in the house when the Nazis came a knocking, and they were all arrested. Her sister, and her father, and about 30 other people in the neighborhood. They were found with resistance materials and extra ration cards. So apparently during the World War, they had ration cards, so you only got to eat so much. So they were taken off to jail. Her dad died 10 days later in jail. They don't know why. Probably got killed. And then her and her sister were transferred. They went to Scheveningen prison, and then they were transferred
Please don't try to say German words. Please don't try. Just don't even try.
I love trying to say German words. Scheveningen.
It's not Scheveningen. It's not Scheveningen.
Scheveningen.
Or whatever the heck you just said.
Do you know how to say it?
If I can find it again, I can pronounce it, because I do speak German, by the way.
Do you really?
Yeah, I took German right through college, yeah.
Yeah, it's on our Wikipedia page down by the arrest, detention, and release. So then her sister, they were transferred to another prison, and then they ended up at a woman's work camp where Corrie, they managed to smuggle in a Bible. They would do services. She converted a bunch of people to Christianity. Just good works, helped the ones that were really sick. Her sister didn't make it out. Her sister died in 1944 in the prison. And then 12 days later, Corrie got released. Corrie got released. And she found out later that she was released because of a clerical error. She was not supposed to be released. And then a week later, after she was released, all the women that were of her age in that camp were all rounded up and taken to the gas chambers and executed. I mean, this lady saw some shit and got very lucky. And then the other thing that I thought was kind of, just... It was a different time back then. These people know suffering like we have no idea. These people went through some suffering. So when she was finally done and released when the Nazis retreated or Germany retreated and all that stuff, and she went back home to the Netherlands, she landed in the Netherlands right at the beginning of the worst hunger winter in Netherlands history. They actually named it the Hunger Winter, where there was just no food and people were starving left and right. And even in her situation, she still opened her doors. She still fed the people with mental retardation and helped hide people that were still in fear of being sent off to the executioners. Because even though the Germans backed out, there were still apparently people there doing Nazi-type stuff. But that was this lady.
Yeah.
Nazi-type stuff. I mean, I could go into detail, but I think we all know.
Most people know. Will you put your face back up here so I don't have to be up here with
I think she's better
Corrie
looking than me.
Well, I agree, but I'd like to see it back up there. It's Scheveningen prison.
Scheveningen prison.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, this lady went through some shit, saved some lives, was a good, just a good overall good human.
Yeah.
Even going through all that, she was still doing good human works.
You know what? And there's probably a book about this. I haven't come across it, or I would have. I've probably read it, but I think there needs to be a study and an understanding of these neighbors. The neighbors that turned her and her family in, or the neighbors that turned in Anne Frank and her family, also in the Netherlands, by the way. These people who, what prompted them to actually betray their country folk, their in some cases their kin, their neighbors, their friends, in these occupied countries. I could see it in Germany, where the Kool-Aid, they drank the Kool-Aid for Hitler. For so many years, and the fear of reprisal for anything was real, but in the occupied countries, to have these people turn each other in, it's just a fascinating phenomenon. I'd love to know more about, if anybody's looked into that.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, and we can even look at modern day. It hasn't changed. Look what happened during the COVID. Look what happened. What went up? Yeah. What went down up in Canada with neighbors? Calling the police.
Okay.
My neighbor across the street has 7 people in his house, and
I agree. However, they weren't sending those people to the gas chamber yet. I mean, you knew these people. If you turned them in, they were most likely going to end up in a concentration camp, and most likely going to end up dead. So the stakes were a lot higher there. I mean, as opposed to ratting on your neighbor because they had 7 people for Thanksgiving.
Right. Well, even into the modern days, I mean, Michael Malice, who's an anarchist, has a podcast I listen to, but he's from Poland, Russia, the communist side when it was part of the USSR. And he tells the story.
Let me just be accurate here. It was never part of the USSR, but it was part of the Warsaw Pact. It was a communist nation that was a satellite of the USSR. Yeah.
But it was back in the USSR days, not the current Russia day. But when he was a kid growing up, they lived in Leningrad. Is that right? Leningrad.
Yeah, which is now
the capital of Russia.
Well, it's not the capital. Moscow is the capital. Leningrad was renamed to its old name, which is St. Petersburg, which is what it's known as now.
Got it.
It was Leningrad throughout the Soviet Union.
They lived in an apartment, and one day, the neighbors across the street, which is across the hallway, he tells the story. Across the hallway, they had a little kid that he played with. They were the same age. They were just gone. The next day, they woke up, they were gone. And it turns out one of the neighbors down below was tired of their kids stomping around on the floor, so they called Central Party and said, I overheard them saying negative things about, Lenin or whoever.
Yep.
And they came, swooped them up, and off to Siberia. They went to the work camps. It was that easy for them to just nuke somebody because they were tired of their kid making noise. And that is human nature. And it's scary. People seem to think that humans are nice, kind, gentle people. When you get down to the brass tacks of just pure raw survival or pettiness or whatever, you're trying to get, want a better apartment or something, humans are cruel and ruthless.
Well, the other thing, and as I think this through, first of all, you're right about human nature, but that's one of the things that has made this country so unique, is that we have had a kinder disposition in many cases. Not always. Don't take that as a blanket statement, but in general, we have
right,
and we've taken care of one another. But one of the things that a lot of these quote unquote neighbors were forced into, and the reason they would turn people in is because it was either them or either turn the folks in or they were going to go because they were compromised for something. They got caught doing something, and the Gestapo would say to them, you want to stay here and not go to a concentration camp? Then what do you know? Who do you know? And they would end up
tell us what we want to hear.
That's it. So, boy, we've turned this into a very, very strange broadcast. I didn't expect all of this. Ed has a really
it comes off of Corey's work. I mean, she did brutal, crazy work that she could have been killed.
Yeah. I'm really still surprised. I have never heard of her work. Obviously Oscar Schindler, a very popular story because Steven Spielberg made a movie out of the book Schindler's List, which I've read the book as well. It's very fascinating. And also Anne Frank, obviously another very, very recognized figure from the Holocaust. Because of what she went through and the fact that she wrote it all down in a diary for 2 years. Pretty fascinating stuff, but I've not heard of this woman and her work. I want to address something, and I think, Britt, you should address it too. In fact, I'll let you address it. But Ed said,
"Oh boy,
something." No, I think he's got a very valid point. He said, cemetery. What he finds fascinating about cemeteries is that they shouldn't be haunted or active. And one of the things that people often ask us is, why would you invest or why do you investigate at a cemetery when that's probably the last place a spirit would want to hang around? You know, I mean, we often talk about if you're a spirit and you have an intelligent option, the last place you want to be is around your corpse by a headstone. You're going to want to be in a place that brought you joy, I would imagine. You're going to want to be in your home where you lived for all those years. So why do you think there's a possibility we might catch something in a cemetery, Britt? Did you just freeze up? Did I just lose you? Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's like always. It's constant. But anyway, I'll tell you what I think, Ed. Sometimes I don't think we know the answers to the questions specifically. But what I think we can say is that there's a possibility that people don't have a choice. If their spirit lingers, they don't have a choice. Maybe they're attached to something the body is wearing. Maybe they're attached to the wedding ring, which they're buried with. Maybe they're attached to their body. Maybe they don't want to leave their body. Maybe they don't recognize their death and they don't want to leave their body. So there's a whole bunch of things here. We just don't know the answers. But what we do know is that people do catch some quote unquote evidence at the cemetery now and then. So it's certainly worth doing. And the fact that we're going to have an opportunity to actually do some EVP sessions at some very, very famous people's graves, again, completely respectful. We understand how important it is to be respectful. It's going to be exciting to see if we actually can get some type of response to some of this stuff. Jeannie, who's been a follower of our programs for a long time, is a volunteer for Find a Grave. And you just record when I go, if the spirit wishes to talk, they can. So, Jeannie, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on whether or not spirits do or don't, and why or why not would be in a cemetery versus somewhere else. I'm curious as to what we might not be able to do this because Britt has not reconnected. Oh my God. He just said his power went out, probably because he's trying to run a fan. All this stuff going on. I don't know what's happening, but now I see a big black screen, but I hear the fan, so I know something's there. Does anything just work properly for you?
No.
Ever? Just out of curiosity.
No.
Okay.
No, and I think it was a kind of one of those power outages where it's like somebody hit a pole somewhere because it kind of fluctuated and then went out and then came back and went out and then it went out.
Yeah.
And then it came back on.
Yeah.
So it shut down long enough to shut everything down and then came back on.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and actually, can you hear the sirens?
No, but Skeptical Science says rolling blackouts in California again. Possible.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah, no, that absolutely happens. I need to get an APC like you have.
Yeah.
And
well, if my power went out, even my APC wouldn't keep us streaming because it would keep the computer on, but it wouldn't keep the modem and all the other connections that are required to make the stream happen. Because it's not that powerful. Right. It's just to protect the data on the computer so it doesn't crash and get all corrupted. I found a theory. Yeah. Ed says I found a theory that there could be population concentrations or ghost cities, if you will, and perhaps the cemetery overlaps our plane of existence. There's a whole bunch of theories that we could get into for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I also think, because in general, I believe, I before my power went out, I agree with what Ed said. Why would you hang out at a cemetery? But, if we subscribe to the theory that objects can be haunted, that people can be attached to objects, why couldn't somebody be attached to their body?
Yeah, I
mean, you're with your body your entire life.
Did you say that? I covered your ass when you disconnected there, and I said that, and I also said maybe they're attached to their wedding ring that they were buried in. It could be something like that too. There's so many things that we don't know that for us to say, hey, why would a spirit hang out in a cemetery? It's a morbid place. Well, we don't know what motivates spirits if they have any choice at all. I mean, we don't know any of that. These are all answers that we try to get. Sometimes we feel like we get some evidence to support one side, and the next thing you know, we get evidence to support the complete opposite side. So,
and why is it? Why would it be a morbid place? I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out in the embalmer's room. or at the corner. That's a morbid place. The cemetery is a place of beauty and burial and ceremony and families coming together, although it's a sad thing, but it's not morbid. I wouldn't call it morbid.
Well, I would say it's morbid because in addition to let's say you are a spirit and you're hanging and you're attached to your corpse, your body. If you're in a cemetery, 2 feet to your right and 2 feet to your left, you've got someone else's body and someone else's corpse. That may make it seem a little morbid. Listen, one of the most beautiful places to visit for me, I like to walk through old cemeteries. I find them very, very peaceful. I find them very, very tranquil. I also find them very interesting and there's a lot of information you can find on headstones, and you read them and you find out very fascinating things about a time period, about a certain family. I mean, they're really amazing places. But I could also see how some people may think they're morbid. So I guess it depends on how you view it.
All right, I'll go with that. Because I did ask a question about that.
You what?
And I did ask a question about that.
What do you mean?
Does she hang out with others in the cemetery?
Gotcha. For the EVP session. Gotcha.
For the EVP session.
So Roxana wants to know: do you think that a piece of a spirit can be in one place and then it scrolls so fast I can't keep up with the comments and I'm trying to read. Do you think that a piece of a spirit can be one place and then another place? Often wondered. So in other words, can it divide its time? Again, I think that's very possible. Maybe it's not a piece here and it's a piece here, but maybe it's sometimes here and then sometimes over here. We don't know. Also, remember, I mean, time is just a living human thing. I mean, if everything is energy, it could be here right now, and in the blink of an eye, it could be in JV's studio because it's just energy, whoop, and boom, it's there. It just materializes there. So, it's quite possible it might not be a piece. It just could be everywhere. Can I need to share this, and I know you asked me not to, and I'm not gonna embarrass you too much. But last night, Britt and I were doing a recording. We were working on one of our animated features that we're doing.
I need to yank the plug. Where's the plug at?
and Britt had his camera, so he was like this. And I could just see the top of his head. And I'm like, Britt, I can't see your mouth moving. And it's the visual clues of his mouth moving that help me know when to read my lines and the back and forth. So he's like, all right, he's all grumpy about it. He moves his camera down. He wasn't wearing any clothes. Britt was not wearing any clothes. He's like, it's too hot in here to wear clothes. He's all grumpy about it. I'm like, all right. I'm glad we're not live. That's all I can say.
Except you're going to show the picture anyway.
No, I'm not going to do that to you. I promised I wouldn't. I will not show the picture. I did take some screenshots. If I need them down the road, I've got them. And maybe we'll use...
you got blackmail for when I'm president?
Maybe we'll use them as a subscriber incentive. If we can get,
I don't think that's an incentive to see my nipples. I really don't think that is an incentive.
Anyway.
That might run some people off.
It's too funny.
Oh my God, you're out of control.
All right, so again, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to Britt stopped at the grave of this. I'm not going to call her a saint because I don't have the power, but somebody who certainly deserves that type of title. Corrie ten Boom, who saved a lot of people's lives during the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands from 1940 to 1944. Into 45. So this woman has lived a very, very long life. She was 91 years old when she passed away. And she has a lot of other lives that owe her a debt of gratitude because she saved them from what certainly was a horrific fate. So Britt stopped. You spent about 10 minutes at the headstone and did just an EVP session.
Yeah, I did about 7 minutes worth. Ish.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll play it. We have not listened to this. We have no idea. I do know that when he was loading it up, I heard the very, very beginning, the part where he said he was trying to, there's about a minute where Britt was looking for the headstone. And I hear a lot of ducks. So we might have to contend with duck noise in this as well. We'll have to discern.
Yeah, and I did make a comment midway through my EVP session because I forgot to kind of set it up. And so I was in a cemetery. About 300 yards away was a group of people doing cemetery stuff, loved one. Doing not workers making noise, but what would you call a person that not parishioners?
I haven't been listening.
That's the word
to
I'm
what
looking
you're saying.
for.
What were you trying to describe? I'm responding to
my
chat.
God.
I'm responding to chat.
Oh, whatever. Never mind. Anyway, there's people about 300 yards away that are there for another grave site family meeting.
Mourners?
So, mourners. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Not
Mourners.
parishioners.
Jesus.
Yeah, mourners.
No, different. Yeah, I knew that wasn't right. It didn't feel right in my mouth. So, but mourners are about 300 yards away. But there is some ducks and a really loud ass crow that scared the hell out of me. Okay. But we haven't listened to this, so we're all listening to this together. So if you hear something, write it down, what you think you heard, and we'll just go from there. So
hold on. Before you hit play, let's do this in minute or so segments, maybe a little longer. But every, when it feels right, Britt, pause it, and we can take a breath and regroup, and then start it again. So we're not just listening to ducks for 7 minutes.
Okay, and I can also see you, so if you want me to stop, or just say stop. Whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, here we go. This is Fairhaven Cemetery in Santa Ana, California. And it helps with their sound. Where's my audio? It's coming, bear with me. Why is it not working? Oh, right here. You come from Holland. Let me back this up. There we go. There's the crow. Hello, Corey. It's probably been a long time since someone's come out here and talked to you. Although I do see you have these stones on here. Do you want to tell us who puts them here? I read here in your bio that you come from Holland and that you were very big during World War II in saving Jewish lives. How many people do you think you saved? Was it really dangerous what you were doing?
You turned your mic off or something because I don't hear you.
Sorry, my neighbor 2 doors over fired up his jet boat. So I killed my mic. I don't know if you heard that pop off.
I didn't, but I had my mic.
So we're 1 minute.
It's a good idea to do that. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So we're about 1 minute in. Does anybody hear anything yet? Looking at chat. You have a better handle on chat than I.
Yeah, I don't see anybody commenting. I think there's probably about a 30-second delay between what we're doing and what chat and getting a response from chat, so I'll keep watching here. There was one point where I thought I heard something, but then it sounded like it may have been a vehicle in the distance.
Okay.
But that was
Did you write it down? Did you write it down?
Did not write it down. I'm too busy reading chat and listening, and Billy says she thought she heard a faint yes. Do you remember which question that was in response to, Billy? And I wonder if it's the same one I thought I heard something to as well.
All right. So while we wait for that to work back through to chat. All right. Shall I start again?
Yeah.
Continue, or do we wait for the answer?
Yeah. No. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here we go. I'll do another minute.
Okay.
Before your book, but after World War II, were you recognized for your heroism? You came up in a time that most people today don't understand. You witnessed Hitler. What are your thoughts on evil? if you have a TV where you're at now, and you're able to pay attention to what's going on in current day, do you think that there are people as evil as Hitler alive today? If so, do you think those people are in power at various companies, various countries, etc.?
Boy, it really picks up the birds, doesn't it?
Oh my God!
You know,
that bird landed in the tree right above me.
I want this moment and what we're doing right now to serve as the final word as to why we usually do this at night.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you don't have the birds. You don't have as much traffic. You don't have people. There are a lot of things that go away after dark. And it allows us to do this with not completely void of distractions, but fewer distractions. So just so you know, the response that Billy thought she heard was to the question about Holland. And I also noted that in our Twitch stream, Pip Bub said they heard a yes after the question about was it dangerous.
Oh, wow. Okay. Those are all good to know. I heard when I asked about Hitler, it was like there was like a static anomaly that happened. Now, this recorder's not in my hand. As JV's putting the photo up, you can see the tombstone. That is where the recorder's at, and I'm about, 3 feet from it, standing back from it. And when I asked about Hitler, there was a weird anomalous hit there that, sometimes that's what happens when they interact with the recorder. We don't actually get a clear answer, but because they're trying to do whatever they're doing, it does make a static hit, a digital hit on the recorder. So that was interesting, I thought. Yeah, definitely interesting. And tell me though, there's kind of a low rumble that's just constant. From your technical standpoint, where's that coming from? It's not something making noise. It's just a low, like intrinsic. That's the city. You live in the country where it's truly quiet.
That's true.
I am in concrete jungle. There's 3 freeways that are around me. Yeah. With that constant, just the run of the rubber on the asphalt, just just that's what it is. Right. And obviously, I set the recorder on the tombstone. I probably should have put some kind of a towel down or something, which would
absorb some of that
on the granite. Yeah, so there might be just from the life of cars and shit going by that it's got the vibration going on. Mm-hmm. Could be that too.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
So, could be. All right, continue on?
Yeah, let's continue.
Looking back over your life, is there anything you would change? Are you happy about how your family has turned out and prospered? For the record, I'm in a cemetery that is very empty. There's maybe a group of people 300 yards away. Is there a message that you would like me to give out? If you have a message, the more information about who you want me to deliver it to would be amazing. All right, that's another minute. Again, I'm not holding this recorder, so I don't know what those sounds are where it sounds like the recorder's being fumbled about. Are you hearing those too?
Yeah, it sounds like it's in a hand almost, like moving around a little bit.
Right, and I'm not holding it, and I'm not moving. I'm just standing, asking questions. So I don't know what that's about. That's I don't know why that recorder is getting so much jostling sounds to it. Also, in the beginning of this little last one we just did, I thought I heard like a distant kind of a higher pitched voice type thing happen. Did anybody hear that?
Yeah. Ed said that he was walking across a parking lot, but he thought he heard a digital hit after you asked her about witnessing evil. So that would have been in the first block we did.
Yeah, that would be the Hitler question.
Yep.
Okay, so he heard something too. Yeah. See, okay, so people are getting the pops and the clicks, and I'm not holding it. And this is a good recorder. I mean, this recorder is this wasn't a cheap recorder. It's full spectrum sound. It's a solid unit.
Well, you can tell how solid it is because when you speak, it's clear as day. And here's a picture. You can see how Britt had placed the recorder itself on the headstone, and you're standing good, 2-3 feet away, right? But yet your voice is crystal clear, so it's a good one.
Yeah, I'm literally 2 paces back, so whatever that is. So I figured about 3 feet-ish. Yeah, and so I don't know. That's just interesting. Why it'll be interesting to see when we do the next one if the same anomalies happen. I'm not ready to call it paranormal or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like the ghost is trying to do its thing. But if when we do Marilyn Monroe or whatever, and those aren't there, then what was that all about?
I thought a spider had just dropped on my hand, and it may have. Some insect-type creature was just on my arm, and I don't know what it was. It's kind of dark in here, so I can't tell. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so Allie is saying she did hear higher-pitched voices, but it sounded like people in the distance. So those people would be 300 yards away?
All right, so we're learning as we do this, by the way, and I did a couple thoughts,
True.
and I'll throw them out right now. First of all, what we're going to do after the fact here is we're going to take this audio file, and we're going to upload it. We'll probably put some images with it so it can be considered a video file when we put it on Facebook. And you guys can listen to it all you want and see if you can pick this stuff out really specifically. And when you do it that way, you will have a timestamp that you can use and reference and say, hey, at 1 minute, 18 seconds, I heard this. That'll be really, really helpful. The other thing is, Britt, when you do this, the next one, and I'm going to do some of these around here in Cooperstown too, because we have some like James Fenimore Cooper and some other really cool grave sites that'll be interesting to do this with. But we should take a video of just like a 360 around you so everybody can get a sense of if there are people near, if there are roads near, if there's whatever, kind of get a lay of the land so that people know when we're listening to these what it looks like around the session. So that would be helpful too.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're so winging this. I mean, we thought about this morning in here. Wow, something we actually thought about and executed in less than 24 hours.
It's pretty impressive for us. It's pretty impressive. Usually it takes 7 meetings and 3 trips across country before we can get anything done.
And about 19 no's from JV because I'm trying to overcomplicate it.
That too.
But I do like the idea. I didn't even think about it. We should upload the file and let the people dissect it, and then maybe we should do a follow-up. Like when we do the next one.
Yeah. We can go
here's
through.
The deal. People, do your thing, go through it, and then can you send audio files through Facebook to us, like in the DM? Is that even possible?
I don't know.
We'll have to look into that.
I mean, we don't really need them to do that, though. If they just put the timestamp in the comments with what
True.
they heard, we can go through and pull those out or listen for them or whatever. We can definitely pull them out.
True. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. But I like that idea because then the next one that we do, we'll start with this one and we'll dissect what people found. We'll put it in Audition and cut it up and pull it, and then we'll go into the new one. I like that idea.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for more?
Yes, I am.
Is there anyone else in this area that wants to talk? Do you talk to anybody else in this area? All right, here's kind of a complicated question. Now that you've passed on
you've gone to the other side, and you've seen what we all who are currently living are wondering about. Is there a God, a Jesus Christ, as it's thought about today in current religions? Have you met our Creator? And from a belief standpoint, do you have a message to give to us who are currently still alive on this rock? All right. Well, I'm hoping you left me some information on this recorder. If you want me to come back and do this again in the future, please let me know. Just give me a big old yes.
That's a big old yes.
Okay, Corey, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great night.
So, Britt, Ed said, whoa, back up after the Jesus Christ question. Can you do that? Can you back it up there? And,
Yep.
And we can listen to that part again?
Here we go.
All right. Well,
Gotta find it.
have you met our Creator?
Back more.
All right, here's kind of a complicated question. Now that you've passed on, you've gone to the other side, and you've seen what we all who are currently living are wondering about, is there a God, a Jesus Christ, as it's thought about today in current religions? Have you met our Creator? And from a belief standpoint, do you have a message to give to us who are currently still alive on this rock?
All right, I'm going to back it up for what Billy and Facebook
All
said.
right. All right, here's kind of a complicated question. Now that you've passed on, you've gone to the other side, and you've seen what we all who are currently living are wondering about, is there a God, a Jesus Christ, as it's thought about today in current religions?
Oh, yeah, kind of high-pitched.
What we all who are currently living are wondering about. Is there a God, a Jesus Christ, as it's thought about today in current religions?
Right there.
Have you met our...
I don't know. What do you think about that, JV?
I thought I heard, right after you finished asking the question, I thought I heard a crow in the distance, not the one that was close to you, but one in the distance. And then after that crow stops, I think I hear, and it's either a person very, very far away yelling. So the mic picked them up, or it's disembodied voice. But there's definitely a voice right after that crow.
All right, I'm going to back it up. We'll try it again now that we got all that detail.
Other side, and you've seen what we all who are currently living are wondering about. Is there a God, a Jesus Christ, as it's thought about today in current religions?
Right in there.
Backing it up.
Is there a God, a Jesus Christ, as it's thought about today in current religions?
Right there.
You hear it too?
Yeah. And I'm not moving. I am standing still.
Yeah.
And you hear at the end, when I start to walk towards the recorder, you can hear my feet. You hear the grass crushing. It's very loud and nothing quiet about me. So I love asking the questions about God. Jay used to get so fucking pissed at me. So did Steve when I would go down the whole God Jesus route.
I think that's the most obvious question. That's what we want answers to most, right?
And I had some pretty crazy evidence from time to time that they would just not play. They would just throw it out. They would just, nope, not going to happen. But yeah, that I always loved asking those questions because that's what I want to know.
Okay, so is
there a reason to be good right now?
Right. This is what we're going to do. Again, we're going to post this. We're going to put some pictures with it, probably the picture of the headstone and maybe a couple of Corey herself, so that people know who this is. And we're going to post the audio. It'll be in a video form, so if you're looking for the file, just so you know, on Facebook. Maybe we'll do it on YouTube too. I'm not sure. We'll figure out if we want to do that. But certainly on Facebook. And that was a big breath, like you wanted to say something.
No, I don't know. Something happened to my. I thought I did something because you stopped quiet.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna say, if we do it on YouTube, people can download the 4K downloader. It's easy to rip, and then they can download it in an MP3. They can choose MP3, so they don't have to pull the video down. They can just pull the audio down if they want.
Let me say something about that. When you choose MP3 format, you are compressing the audio and you're creating digital distortions in there that you don't even realize it. The best thing to do is keep it as a wave form. That's the most pure, uncompressed format. When you start using MP3s, all the highs get compressed and all the lows get compressed, and it can create digital artifacts. So be very, very careful about that. Yeah. I would just recommend,
so
again,
when they do video, that's wave?
Well, it depends on how we record it. I mean, we will make sure it's wave. We will do that. I don't know if everybody does that. It's not automatic. But when we compile a video, Britt, and you've done this, when you can pick your format, one of the things you can change is the audio. And I always, and I'm sure you do it too, we always leave it in wave format, which is uncompressed. Yeah. So anyway, the best way to do this is just to listen to it on the platform that we put it on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Just listen to it there, note the timestamps, and put in the comments what you think you hear when you think you hear it. And in the meantime, Britt and I will take this audio as well and dissect it and put it into Adobe Audition, where we can clean it up, we can move things around a little bit and amplify some things and see if we can get a better handle on what we're hearing there.
Yeah, basically what we'll do is, from your notes, we will dissect those sections, pull them out, do some hiss reduction. It's okay to do some basic stuff to the file, but if you're starting to have to do this alien sounding, cancel audio, some of the crazy stuff that people do, that's not a decent EVP. Just throw it out.
Yeah.
But basic hiss reduction, maybe amping up volume a little bit.
Well, in that particular cut, that part that we played over and over again, where we thought we heard a high pitched voice, or maybe even more than one voice after the crow sound. If we can just put a low pass filter, actually a high pass filter on above the sound of the rumble that we're hearing, because we know those voices are higher than that. So we can put a high pass filter at the level of that rumble and get rid of the rumble completely.
Yep.
And still should be able to hear in a clearer way what those voices were, what we're hearing there.
Right. This is kind of fun. God, I haven't done an EVP session like this, and where I just went out and just did the EVP session at and no equipment, no nothing. It was a lot of fun. But I do think adding, because I'm going to be there anyways, adding the spirit box, so 2 recordings at once. It'll be interesting to see, because what if with the spirit box we get a much clearer answer, like she could harness that white noise easier to drop the answer on the recorder. But you know what? And where is it from? I just saw it. Was it Ali? Who's from the UK?
Katie.
She just asked.
Katie
Katie from the UK just asked, "Do you want to share this?" Yeah, share this. Please share this. We would love the more ears that are on it, the more people that are listening and putting, the better. And maybe at some point we actually get the answer. Wouldn't that be crazy if PRTV is the one that comes up with the meeting with
listen,
Jesus?
The way I look at it, the only possibility is that PRTV will come up with the answer. No one else is going to. Did you see the morning question that we posted today? You see the comments? We've got several hundred comments to the morning question today, which was something to the effect of, what's your reaction when you hear an investigator say, I think it's demonic? And people really, really are seeing through the crap that many of these TV shows present, and how much garbage is thrown at people, and this whole word of demonic being thrown around like it's everywhere and everything. People are seeing through it, and they don't. And people who really, really are interested in this stuff, like our audience, don't want to be burdened with this garbage that's being thrown at them. So if the answer is going to be found anywhere, Britt, it's going to be found on this program, Paranormal Reality TV.
Yes. There we go. Tune in. Stay tuned.
Yes.
Click the like button. Smash the notification bell. Make sure you're tuning in every night, because you never know when we're going to go live. Like, this was totally impromptu.
Yes, it was.
Like, both of my girlfriend and his wife are probably going, fuck, where'd they go? Where'd they at? So I will tell. Here's an inside story. So JV and I talk so much that literally, like when Amy walks up to JV, who are you on the phone with? And he'll go, Britt. She rolls her eyes so hard that I can hear it in California. And when Gretchen goes, who are you on the, let me guess, JV, huh? And I'll say, yeah, JV. And she'll just shake her head and walk away. They think we're high school girls on the phone. Back when phones were still mounted to the wall, and you had to have the really long cord to get to your bedroom.
The curly cord they could stretch out for all the way down the hallway, yeah. Too funny.
Oh my God, those days. Our kids have no idea.
I know, they have no idea.
The struggle was real when we were growing up.
They have no idea. I want to say hey to Rob. Of course, you've all seen Rob on our investigations. He's checking in. Good to see him, of course. We've said hi to everybody else, I think. Kevin, no, I missed a lot of people, and I apologize for missing folks, but the chat was scrolling pretty quickly there, so I couldn't keep up with it. But just an idea, JV knows the idea of a quiet room and recording. Why not put the recorder in some type of small box in the field to help filter out background noise? That's a really interesting suggestion. And Britt and I actually been working on a device. I'm not going to tell you what it's for, but it's to do exactly what you're saying. Skeptical science is a reason for it, because we are skeptical about a piece of equipment that we've been using. Not that we don't want to use it. We like Britt and I say all the time, we'll use everything, and let the evidence fall where it falls, and then we can decipher it once we get it. And if there's corroboration between different devices, then we have more information to work with. So, hey, Gail, good to see you. Good to see you. No, Iowa, also, we are not high school girls. Jeez, we're junior high girls.
Well, yeah, come on, get it right. I'm 12 in my head. Jesus. Also to skeptical, and just saying, we thought this up this morning. We're winging this. But here's the other thought process too for what we're doing with this little thing. I mean, if I go to a cemetery in the middle of the day, because I'm going to be doing this I'm going to try and do Marilyn Monroe, the LaBiancas, Sharon Tate. I mean, any Buster. I'm going to go into the Hollywood Cemetery where a lot of stars are, and if I start pulling out a bunch of stuff, they're going to run me off. If I just walk up and drop a little recorder down and step back and act like I'm, I won't get run off as much. So there's some diciness to this that we have to think about. But you're right, and putting it in a box just to kind of muffle the exterior sounds. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can as we're moving forward, but I also have to be a little bit stealthy because, I'm pretty sure the Although I don't know. I mean, some of the cemeteries, they probably don't give two shits. But like Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where they get a lot of tourists there, a lot of people there, they're probably more vigilant about it. But there's a lot of well-known people in there that would be interesting to see if we can make contact with. And again, also, this is not a real investigation that we're doing, and we know that. We're doing this for fun, and if we make contact, it's going to be amazing. If we get some cool answers, it's going to be amazing. But the reality is this is not a hyper-controlled, hard science that we're going to present to a client that their place is haunted, that you need to get it smudged or exercised. I live in LA. I work in I live in Orange County, but I work in LA every day. All of you folks are scattered across the world. I mean, all the way over to the UK. We have a UK person tonight. And it's Hollywood, and people are always not fantasize. I guess some people fantasize about the Hollywood elite, but fascinated by the Hollywood elite, and I have access to their stuff. Yeah. So
yeah, I would call this. I would call this. Fun with this, and I would call this casual investigating, not. Yeah, not really. I mean, but again, we could have listened to that because we hadn't listened to it ahead of time. We could have listened to that. We could have heard Corey say, "Britt, I am here," and we could. Well, God knows what we could have heard, and that would supersede any technique or anything. And if we come up with something like that, then hey. But in the meantime, subtle things are good too. Yeah.
But I also think part of the fun of this for all of us, including you guys out there, is that none of us have listened to it. I'm going to go out and do the work. JV will go do some work, and we're going to bring it back, and we're all going to listen to it together live. Yeah. And it is what it is. Yep. I think that's kind of fun.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be exciting to have all of you listening with us. And because everybody hears things a little bit differently. There's always a little bit of difference in the way someone will hear something.
And there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. My hearing is shot because I worked in construction all my life, and I did 6 billion concerts when I was younger, working in the concert security world. I cannot hear the low end at all. I just can't. Even right now with these cans, the low end stuff I don't hear. Like the rumble JV's talking about, very faintly could I hear it, but I had to focus on it to hear it. I can't hear it. So if an EVP comes in on the low end, I'm not going to hear it. But Slacktastical out there who wears really tight, or was that Iowa Joe? I think it's Iowa Joe that wears the really tight jock straps. He can hear the really high pitched stuff and the really low pitched stuff. So he might pick up more than I, which is good, and everybody in between. So get your good headphones. Cans are the best. Cans. So if you got your little earbuds in, like your Apple AirPods or any of that kind of stuff, they only pick up a really small range of the sound frequency, because they just don't have big speakers, and these are the best. These cans will pick up the widest range of sound frequency. Just to clarify, because Britt is talking broadcast lingo when he says cans, what he's talking about is full over-the-ear headphones. Full over-the-ear with
headphones.
the big speakers.
Yeah. So...
that's the best way to go. And you don't want noise cancellation phones or bass boost, because that all of a sudden adds artifacts and suppression and stuff to it. So
I want to answer Gail, because Gail, when we were talking about equipment and a sound, who was it? Skeptical Science suggests we put the recorder in some type of isolation box so it doesn't pick up outside noise. After all, if the noise that's being picked up is somehow spiritual in nature, it should be able to penetrate that box. I get that. But Gail asked in response to that conversation, what do you guys think about the Necrometer app? I have not used the Necrometer app, Gail, but I am going to tell you this.
It sounds fun.
Sounds fun. But Britt knows this. I have a great deal of skepticism about apps.
Yeah.
Anybody who's sitting somewhere in a software development room who comes up with something that they claim can talk to the dead or filter the dead or whatever they do, I have an issue with. I don't know how they were blessed with the gift to be able to develop that line of code that brings us to the other side. I'm just not convinced yet. I'm open-minded, but I'm very, very skeptical about any app. Now, if the app just uses like the compass or voice recorder or the video recorder, obviously those things are what they are. But they don't claim to be bringing words over from the other side from spirits who are trying to talk across the veil. So that's where I stand on that stuff.
Talk across the veil. I agree. And for me, mostly it's I just, they want the app to sell. So what is it? You got this capitalist type person who normally it's a communist wanting to make money off the capitalist system. But anyway, in China. But, they go, every 14th hour it's going to put a little something into, and then the people freak out and they, oh my God, look what we got. And then it sells 92,000 more apps in 2 days type of thing. So, it's just the quality assurance, the quality control has to be super top notch. I'm not here to say that there's not a single app out there that is pure as the wind-driven snow. There probably is. The sad part is human nature is human nature, and if I'm a betting man, the odds are.
Yeah, Britt and I have actually had a lot of conversation about this, and in fact, skeptical scientists' comment about an isolation box really revolves around this. What we're talking about right now. Yeah. I don't really want to open the can of worms right now because I want us to do our experiments first. So I don't think we should probably say any more, Brett. I think we probably leave it there. But Britt and I have
we're
had
like
these
that.
conversations for sure.
Yeah. This is my general advice to any group, because we get I don't know about you, but JV, but I get about 100 emails or messages, DMs a week about equipment and this and that and places that are haunted. But if you're using one of these apps and you're asking questions and you get a response from it and it's completely not even related to the question you asked, just throw it out. The responses have to be to the questions that you're asking. And you're what is your name? And it comes back with Ford Ranger truck. That's not their name.
Yeah,
throw that out.
I have seen, in fact, worked with people who will use these apps. And they'll be asking questions, and these words come out. And all of a sudden, magically, their questions start changing to accommodate the words that are being issued. And they claim that's success. And I just shake my head at that stuff. I want to say to them, without being rude, you completely changed your line of questioning to match the words that were coming out of that thing. That's not a hit. That's not how it's supposed to work. If this was intelligence coming through, it would have been responding to the questions you were asking in the beginning to start with, not the ones that you changed to match the words that you heard. I mean, that's silliness. But anyway, again, my silliness could be someone else's genius. I don't know. I'm not here to say I'm the final answer in this, but it's just kind of where I am.
We're not saying don't use them. Use them and experiment with them, but understand what they are. They're completely off. It's like using a drug off label. It's completely off label, uncharted territory. So make sure like if you're if you're part of an organized team and you're going to people's homes who are truly terrified in their home of what's going on, and they're going to make a major life financial decision on what you tell them, be very careful what equipment you use and what you believe, and then what you tell the client. Because what we do as a hobby, they may sell their freaking home at a loss for and totally bankrupt their family. Because you wanted to go, I found a ghost, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm infamous on YouTube, thank you.
Right.
I don't know why I went high-pitched voice for that, but...
Nice. By the way, Allie summed
maybe
it
it's
up...
a new voice for the cartoon.
Allie summed it up really well in the Facebook comments. She said, I hate how dependent people are on equipment. Use your senses. And I agree with that 100%. I've seen so many investigators that are so wrapped up into the device they've got or the app they're looking at or whatever. They're not really listening to what's going on in the room around them. They certainly aren't looking at it because they're looking at a screen most of the time. The best tools we have when we investigate are our eyes and our ears and our senses, just our sixth sense, whatever that is. Use them. Make those your priority. The most important equipment you have is what's innate to you. Let the other stuff support that, but use your senses as your primary tools. That's the way I feel anyway.
That's why I like the noisemakers. That's why I like the REM pod. And there's various forms of the REM pod now, which is monitoring different frequencies and etc. And those are great because you can set those down and walk away from them, and you can be paying attention and listening. And then if something happens over in that part of the room, it's going to let you know, and then you can focus. That's why I like the noisemakers.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. So this was. I had fun doing this. I would love to know what you guys think in chat about this. Are we wasting our time, or do you want to do more of this? I would love to know. And then I think what we're going to do is once we hang up on y'all, JV and I are going to talk about the next one we're doing, which I believe is going to be Marilyn Monroe. And we're going to start a post on Facebook about that. And then I I need help asking questions. I can't do it all. So we want your questions of what you want to ask Paranormal, because I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to especially all the older stuff, because JV's older than me, but the older actors and whatnot. There it is. There you go. But some of you might be like a Marilyn Monroe aficionado, know everything about her, and have some great questions to ask that I would never even remotely think of. So, or whoever we're doing. So we're definitely going to do that. So watch for that post, and then put the questions in there, and then I will figure them out. JV and I will figure them out. And next time I'm out in LA, I'm going to do a little pit stop at her cemetery and knock it out.
Yeah, not only are words Britt's second language. Words are my second language. Yeah, words are your second language, but knowledge is your second language as well, or third language.
Well, I'm very knowledgeable in certain things. I'm not, but when it comes to the Hollywood socialite, I don't give two shits about that. So in my entire, because I'm born and raised here, I don't care about those people. I don't even want to know what they do. I don't care. But you want your engine rebuilt? I'm your guy. You want your bathroom remodeled? I'm your guy. You need your electrical done? I'm your guy. You want to know about Groucho Marx? Not your guy.
I'm your guy for that. I'm the Groucho Marx guy.
There you go.
I love Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
I just also want to thank Pip for the subscription on Twitch. Thanks for doing that. If you've got a Amazon Prime account and you are so inclined, you can subscribe to our channel on Twitch. Free to you, but we get financial credit because of your link to Amazon Prime. Again, doesn't cost you anything. We really, really appreciate it when you do that. We've had a bunch of people subscribing on the Facebook page. That is terrific. Thank you so much for that support. We're getting ready to go to the Bailey Seton Hospital, which is going to be a massive investigation. We've got to bring in a dozen additional investigators for this thing. We've got to bring them in to help us because of how large it is and how insecure it is. We need numbers to make sure we're safe. So these things are expensive, and we're trying to do them as often as we can in places. The one place that we were just talking to, it's a $1,500 a day fee to investigate in it, which Britt and I, we got to talk about that. But either way, so it's expensive to do this. So when you subscribe, you help. Thaddeus or Rob, thanks for the stars, by the way. I meant to do that earlier when you did that. Thank you so much. That's also help for us as well. So we appreciate all of that. I'm excited about this little EVP experiment we did. I think we can have some fun with it.
Yeah, I think so. And we might even get some answers. That'd be really cool. One quick thing on the Twitch thing. If you subscribe to Twitch via the Amazon Prime, you have to do it every month. So if you did it 2 months ago and haven't looked back at it, it falls off. So that's Amazon's way of, hey, you get it for free, but you have to re-enlist every month. And that helps us out a lot, too.
Absolutely.
Which we really, truly do appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to read a comment here because I think it's a terrific one. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right, but it's a first-time chat from, I guess, a first-time viewer on Twitch. It's my Ridian P or my Rid. I don't know what it is, but I'm sorry for mispronouncing it. I'm not sure. But either way, the quote is, "Great show, gentlemen. EVP mass review is a fun and fantastic idea. Thank you." So I appreciate that comment.
I wonder how many people are going to copy us now.
I know. We're getting a lot of that. We're getting a lot of imitators.
Oh, my God. Yeah, whatever.
Do you hear that jingle noise? Did you hear that? It's not still going. It was like, no. And then it must be on my end. I don't know where it's coming from. No, I don't know.
Your computer.
Yeah, but from what? I know it's my
and
computer,
Iowa
but
Joe,
from what?
I know everything about you.
There's bugs in my face. Man.
Just so you know.
Oh, boy.
All right.
All right, cool. So watch for two things, especially on Facebook. We're going to put this audio clip up with some video attached to it, just so it's considered a video, so that you can listen through it. If you hear something, look at the timestamp, put it in the comments. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to put up just a note as to whose gravesite we're going to visit next, and what questions would you like to see. So we'll be doing both of those things, definitely on Facebook. So make sure you're part of our Facebook community. We're going to probably put the video with the audio up on YouTube as well. But Facebook is where the interaction will happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't have a message board that's as functional as Facebook's. So, and it's just a lot easier for us. So there you go.
All right. That's it for
Are we
now.
done?
Yeah, I think we're done for now. I think we've
Hey
done
guys, thanks for hanging out. Dan, we did 76 minutes and we thought this was good. We had nothing planned for tonight.
See what happens when you become a chatty Cathy? See what happens?
Well, that's what happens when I drink coffee too late in the day.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.